live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today, I'm not Rich Saile. I'm Goat Brady, back with my Cuban cigar, watching my New England Patriots one step away from the dynasty being reborn. Well, so you thought it was Goat Brady.
You know, I love wearing that goat mask, but there's a new sheriff in town, baby. There's a new sheriff in town. And his name, Superman, came to save the day. Did you see them scrambles that he had on third down to keep the drive alive? I know y'all saw that. Did you see him? Did you see them New England Patriots? New England stand up! New England stand up! New England stand up! One more win away from being Super Bowl champions. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. We have a lot to cover because two great games. I am doing this literally after an hour has gone by. And I have just finished watching the Rams Seahawks games. And the Broncos Patriots games. We have a lot to cover. Trying to ignore the little background noise up above for right now. But we're going to go over both of these games. Starting with the Broncos Patriots game. This game, did I not tell you on Saturday? Did I not tell you guys on Monday how this game was going to be a lot tougher than people said it was? Tougher than what the typical national media thought was a free pass to Super Bowl. Well, the game sure didn't play out that way. And then they tried to gaslight Jarrett Stidham and say he was good. And I was like, I watched this dude play New England. No. The only fear I had was that damn defense, which it balled out today. It balled the fuck out. All right? And I will say this. They did everything possible for them to win that game. And it came down to the littlest of plays that needed to be executed that they could not do. And the turnover battle, who won that? 2-0. New England. Yeah. Yes, sir. Christian Gonzalez pick to send us there. Drake May using his legs to help get first downs on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 6. There was another one he did. Okay. And did you see that pass rush be hellacious after the second possession of the Broncos on offense? Woo, they hunting. Christian Barmore with a sack. Yeah. But Rich, it was Jarrett Stidham. You were supposed to do this. But y'all keep telling me it was a free pass in the Super Bowl. Y'all keep telling me this was so hard to do. And I want to just, you know what I'm going to do? Today has been a good day. We're going to celebrate on this show because I never thought since I started Lounge Time I would see my team go back to the Super Bowl. Certainly not this year. And I'll be honest, I had a playoff team, 10-7 at best, maybe win a playoff game. But this is a monumental day today because they are going to the Super Bowl for the first time since the Brady Belichick era, and damn straight we celebrate. As you all know, I am wearing my game day gear that I usually wear, and then I have the Superman shirt underneath because I love debuting that shirt in big games, which this certainly was. And honestly, the elements played a little bit of a factor in the second half. But again, Vrabel showed why he knows exactly how to win football games. Forget all the flashiness, people crying, oh, I miss the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Oh, I miss shootouts, man. This is not fair. This team sucks. And let me get to one person in particular. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't like name-dropping people today. And it's not a Chiefs bandwagon. It's one of my own subscribers that has went on a rant after the New England won. And I know he's picked against us all throughout the playoffs. And, I joke with him thinking that he doesn't want to go at me. But today he lost his lid. Yet this same joker texted me when the Chiefs won knowing I was pissed. Now he got to take his own medicine. When my team's doing good, now he wants to throw a rant. Y'all know who you are. Y'all know exactly who you are. And don't get mad at me because I smelled your jealousy miles away. Miles away. Now the one time we have a rebuild, go back to the AFC Championship game, win, make a Super Bowl, and you got to freaking be mad at me that, oh, damn it, my team we have no easy path and stuff. Wait a minute. You had a 2 seed 2 years ago in the playoffs. Y'all lost to Jordan Love. Question, he's been a guest on the show before. Y'all know who you are. Y'all know exactly who you are. I'm not name dropping you today because I'm not going to do that to you. But I'm just saying, man. I'm going to enjoy my happiness. Hell, I keep this goat mask and Cuban cigar right now for a long time. I'm not going to do that right now because I got to get to my analysis part and I got to preview this game because I do what the people want. But on the other hand, bro, the fact you couldn't enjoy me, be happy, man. Nah, today I'm gonna be insufferable. But today has been a good day for the most part. Surprisingly, ladies and gentlemen, I have met a good Chiefs fan on social media that actually was a good dude. He's not a bandwagon, but he's a good dude. Because he actually knows now what it was like for us New England fans the last 25 years to be hated when we're good. So, weirdly enough today, New England wins an AFC Championship game. A Chiefs fan, a Broncos fan, and a Patriots fan have civil talk on Twitter, which I never thought I'd see the day, but it happened. And New England's going to the Super Bowl. And is 60 minutes plus away from winning a 7th Lombardi. So, listen. I knew this game would kind of be low scoring. I do think if Bo Nix played, we obviously may have a different conversation. But the elements played a huge role. And Vrabel knew exactly how to win games in the elements. He relied on his defense. He knew points were going to be at a premium. And the big turning point was Sean Payton missing that 4th down conversion. And there was 2 Patriot defenders instead of space. And I thought it was Craig Woodson that jumped the flat route. It almost looked like it was a sliding pick, but he ended up dropping it. So, again, that was the biggest play in the game. But again, the 2 turnovers, the backwards pass, I was screaming in real time. I'm like, that has to be a fumble. Because he doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage, and it's backwards. Call it a fumble. Now, let me be a class act for a minute. Because the Denver Broncos, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be all right. They're going to get back. They have a hell of a team. Their defense definitely showcased why they're top 5 in the league. If not, top 2 or 3. Okay? They played their tails off. They did everything they could to win this game. It is so unfortunate that Bo Nix was hurt because I would have loved to have seen the storyline if it was Bo Nix, Drake May, 2 of the quarterbacks in the 24 class, go head-to-head, and it would have been a fun storyline all week. But because it was Jarrett Stidham, I was worried that a backup, a.k.a. Nick Foles, scenario would happen all over again. But I will say this New England defense, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to give them their credit. I mean, they have outdone 3 top 5 defenses in these playoffs. And that's something that, honestly, everybody said, oh, well, it was the schedule. Just like my cousin said. They beat up on 2 really above-average quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, C.J. Stroud. Made them look terrible. Oh, but those teams suck, apparently, according to my cousin and the national media and stuff like that. Okay, bet. We got to go to Denver, place we've never won. And what's funny about the way this season has started and how it's ended as far as the road wins, we started with the down south House of Horrors in Miami, won that game in a shootout. Closed out at the West Coast House of Horrors in Mile High and Power Field, let me make sure I get that right, where we win a slugfest game 10-7. Now, as a real one, I will be the first to tell you, Drake May needs to settle down and play better. He had a lot of plays where I was like, May, throw the fucking ball away. Throw the ball away. And there was about 5 plays I could pick out that I'm like, throw it away. Live for another down. You cannot fumble the ball against this pass rush, which he did not do. But you got to learn to throw it away. You got to learn to do that. And that's where I'm concerned with. And I know Josh McDaniels and Vrabel are going to fix this in these 2 weeks leading up to the Seattle game. I expect them to. But this offense hasn't looked great in these playoffs. I think this is the benefit of having 2 weeks off, is to get whatever problems need to be solved over 2 weeks, fix it. Granted, you are playing against a really good defense in 2 weeks with Mike McDonald and the Seahawks, which we're going to get to that game in just a moment. I need Drake May to just settle down. He makes a lot of plays lately these playoffs where I'm like, settle down. You're too tight. You're like not playing like you were in the regular season. And everybody's going after him for how bad he's playing the playoffs. I will tell you, he has not played his best game yet. Is it 2 weeks from now? We have no idea. I hope for my sake it is. Because I would love to celebrate a Patriots Super Bowl win on Lounge Time, especially for someone in particular who is not even happy that I won. Well, kick rocks. Kick rocks. All right? And he knows who he is. I will say, a lot of the keys in yesterday's show that me and my special guest Joey were saying on Saturday were mostly accurate. And that's why, if you watch the show before today, you're in great shape. If not, well, go back and listen to Saturday's episode. That's all I'll tell you. So, but New England, Will Campbell bounced back early from what was not looking like a good start. He bounced back. Running game became huge. Mondre got some big yards in the second half, and Vrabel pulled the Bill Parcells, shortened the game. And that's exactly what he did. Denver had 9 minutes of time of possession in the second half. 9. So that was a big difference in the second half, shortening the game, relying on the defense, and that's exactly what the Patriots did. And again, they find ways to win. Ugly, sloppy, pretty much really, really tough way to win in conditions. They find ways to win football games, ladies and gentlemen, and Mike Vrabel, no question, deserves his flowers. And this defense needs it too. Milton Williams, this is why you got paid the big bucks. You bring your veteran experience over to this New England team, who, mind you guys, back-to-back 4-win seasons. And now this team's in the Super Bowl. In year 1 under Vrabel. Year 1! Crazy. Crazy to think about. But I am happy as hell right now to see my New England Patriots. Finally. Lounge Time faithful. You get to see me be happy that the New England Patriots are going to a Super Bowl. I will say this, though. Job's not done yet. We got one more left. But enjoy tomorrow, okay? And then all laser focus on Seattle. All right? But I'm for certainly, going to enjoy this win. I will put the gold mask on and the Cuban cigar before I leave. I will, okay? To the Rams-Seahawks game. Early on, Seattle had a really good couple opening drives. And Sam Darnold with Clint Kubiak, dare I say, looks better than what he was last year with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. That's what it looked like. It looked really, really good in this game. Probably, in my opinion, his best game as a pro. I have never seen Sam Darnold play as well as he did today. I'm severely impressed. And what did I say were the keys to that game? Whoever makes the big plays is going to win this game. Seattle made 2 of them. One was the Shaheed 9 route, which was basically a fade. The other one was another deep shot to Smith and Jigba before the half. And then JSN pulls it in with a one-hand catch towards the sideline, which literally that was the exact same play, I feel like, as it was against the Niners. And honestly, I don't know whether to be scared about the offense, the way they're clicking, because Kenneth Walker ran wild against the Niners. He ran pretty damn well against the Rams, but Sam Darnold's throwing it amazing right now. Amazing. Like, he hasn't missed. There's a lot of comfort throws where he has it open, and it's just like, yep, it's there. And that's Clint Kubiak's scheme. It really is doing a good job for him. And honestly, I mean, if there's a coordinator hire, he's probably going to be in the top 3 to get it. He's got to be. But this Seattle offense is clicking, and then that defense. I know it didn't play great today with the Rams. They are still problematic. Do not think it's going to play that bad again. It's not. It's not. And that's why I need New England faithful to be very, very, very cautious. Because this defense, let me tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I watched them against the Niners. They're scary. It's very rare a team like the Rams have an MVP caliber quarterback in Matthew Stafford. 2 of the top, I want to say 15 best receivers in football. 10 might be a stretch. But I would actually say 2 of the top 10 receivers in the league. I would say top 15, more top 20-ish. I'd say top 15, though, because Devontae's still good. He has a couple off nights, but that's everybody for the most part. Very rare that they have 2 top 15 receivers. A really good running back that's under the radar in Kyron Williams. And they have arguably a top offensive line in the league that gave up the fewest sacks in the Rams. And Seattle was able to frustrate Matthew Stafford at critical moments in this game. And I think that, to me, when I look at Seattle, I said it last week, they're scary, but boy, on both sides of the ball, they look really scary now. Okay? And and there was a reason I said we match up better with the Rams. Now, this particular matchup, I'm going to preview in just a little bit. But this team's going to be very tough to beat. Because if they can score like they are and that defense plays to the elite level that we've seen them play all season, this is going to be a hard team to beat. And that's why I think looking at the feeling on both teams, it's almost similar because, and I'm going to save that more for the game preview. But for the Rams, the 4th down by McVay, 3 timeouts, down 4. Looking back on it, I didn't hate the call. Because I think Sean knew we can't stop Seattle. But let's put this in retrospect. Earlier in the game, they could have went for 2 to go down 3. But you chose to kick an extra. And they always say go for 2 later. And then if you kick the field goal, you tie the game at that point. So when I look at how this game unfolded, there were some critical decisions by Sean McVay that are going to come back to haunt them in a way. And I look at the Rams, they put up a great amount of points on Seattle. 27. They usually give up 17 a game. But in the red zone, that last fourth down, they could not convert. And that's where, to me, looking at this defense, even though Sean McVay found some big plays in his bag, the Puka touchdown, Devontae touchdown, okay, there were a couple big plays that McVay found that exploited that defense. But I also know that Mike McDonald now has 2 weeks to correct this stuff. And that's where, to me, I don't think you'll see that Seahawks defense play that bad again. I don't think they will. And their offense clicked. Their defense, I think you'll see more of what they've been, what you saw in the Niners game, and what you'll see throughout the season. They are a very good defense. Really good defense. And I think that they're going to be very tough out. They're going to be a tough team to beat, being straight up. But I will say this. There are games that you can watch in this league for the really smart coaches that you look and go, okay, this is what somebody ran that gave them fits. And that's the interesting chess match part of it. The Rams, I thought, were one of those teams that ran some stuff that gave them trouble. But Seattle had an offense that outscored the Rams, and the biggest question mark of the game was the Rams secondary that was shaky. I said it was going to catch up to them. It caught up to them tonight. The Seattle receivers made plays. Cooper Kupp made plays. Rashid Shaheed had the 9 route early in the game. JSN made plays. And Jake Bobo had a touchdown. They had answers for the Rams secondary that, in my opinion, the Rams couldn't stop. And I think that's going to be something that I'm monitoring as to how the Rams fix that defense. Because the back end, to me, they need to retool that back end. They have some good players. They don't have some of the guys that are good veteran corners that can help them out when you got a front four that did make some plays in this game on Darnold. They did. But their secondary really let them down this game. And their weakness became their undoing, as they would say. So, looking at that team's future, they will be fine. I did pick the Rams. I was wrong. But you know what? I'm a man of integrity. I go down with my pick, win or lose. And I thought the Rams would honestly win it this year. I was wrong. Seattle won. Kudos to them. Kudos to Mike McDonald and them. Congratulations for winning the NFC. That is a big accomplishment. And in year 2 for him as well. So we have 2 teams, and this will lead me into the small preview I have for this game. This is not going to be a long episode. I didn't even talk about Miami, Indiana, which I'll sneak in a little bit at the end. Let me get to the game preview on this game. Some of the early thoughts I have. And I'm kind of half tired, so bear with me, guys. I'm trying to fight through this. To me, when I look at this matchup, I look at how both teams are trending in the postseason so far, how they've looked in the playoffs. New England's offense looks very shaky compared to the regular season. And something that we didn't mention on this show, that I mentioned Saturday, if it happened, was Drake May has beaten 3 top 5 defenses. The only quarterback in NFL history to beat 3 top 5 defenses for a single postseason. Ever. Patrick Mahomes never did it. Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady never even did it. Drake May did that. And it takes a special group of coaches and a special kind of player to pull that off. And Seattle, ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you right now, Seattle's top in scoring defense. Yards, they're probably a little bit down, but this is a top 5 defense once again. They are going to be a problem. The key chess match to me will be Josh McDaniels against Mike McDonald. How do those two play chess and who is going to make the biggest plays on their calling card to win the game. And that's the reason I think that's the most interesting matchup, is because McDonald has a lot of guys that, to me, they played a lot of man-to-man against the Rams today. A lot of man-to-man. They had one match coverage where it was like 2 crossing routes inside and the back snuck out on an out route. And that was a wide open touchdown. And I think, to me, McDaniels now has to figure out, okay, we may not have Puka or Devontae Adams like the Rams had, but we got to find a way to get Kayshon Boutte open, Stephon Diggs open, Hunter Henry open, against Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, Nick Amanawari, who played a bit of linebacker at times on certain snaps. That guy, he could play safety, he could play linebacker. Technically a safety, but he could play linebacker. That's going to be interesting. They played physical up front. Physical. Like tight man-to-man coverage. So to me, New England has not been a great man coverage team. So I think, how does Josh McDaniels get receivers that aren't the greatest in the world? How can they get open against man coverage? How does he scheme them open? Because Drake May, the way he's playing, he's not comfortable. Guaranteed Mike McDonald's going to see that on film this week. And they're going to take a little bit of what Jesse Minter did, what D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke did from Houston, and what Vance Joseph did. Guaranteed they're going to mix in their own stuff. That's going to give him a lot of trouble. But I think Drake May needs to have a playoff game where he starts out well and gets his confidence back up again. And I fear that he's starting to not lose that confidence, but he's starting to get a little panicky. And I've seen it in the playoffs where I'm like, settle down. And I know Vrabel and McDaniels are preaching, settle down. And I think, honestly, this is what's good about the 2 weeks, is what you get to correct and improve on. And I think if Drake has the start where he doesn't panic and he can make his reads, and if he just manages the game like he did today, like he did against Houston, like he did against the Chargers, I think he'll be fine. There will be situations where he'll have to win the game. But there will also be situations where he doesn't have to do everything. Which leads to my next side of the equation in this matchup. The Seattle offense against the New England defense. 2 units that are playing as hot as anybody right now. And they are the hottest units right now going in the league. New England, great with pressure rate. Seattle, it feels like everybody's open with Darnold. And Kenneth Walker, he just continues to move his feet and continues to just power through runs. And if not, he bounces it outside. And I feel like with this matchup, how does New England slow down the league's top receiver in Jackson Smith-Njigba? How do they cover Shaheed and Cooper Kupp? They have an interesting trio in the secondary that, to me, is an interesting magic with this matchup. And they got 2 young safeties too. So I want to see how they approach it from a secondary versus receiver group. Do they double Smith-Njigba? And do they single up matchups where they can get Marcus Jones on Shaheed or Carlton Davis against Cooper Kupp? How do they scheme up that matchup? Right? Because I don't think you could put Gonzo on JSN, although they might try that a couple times in the game. Maybe double Shaheed or Kupp. Although, if you're going to double anybody, double JSN. That's how I look at it. I'm very curious how Zach Kerr and Vrabel approach that. Because, to me, they are going to have to figure out how to get pressure on Darnold. Believe it or not, I don't worry about them getting pressure on Darnold. I think Vrabel and Kerr can get pressure. And the reason I say that is because I think Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, those 2 guys have been really well playing off each other in these playoffs. I do wonder, though, if Harold Landry comes back if he's going to be a player that can help set the edge and don't let Darnold escape. I'm seeing Darnold move a lot outside the pocket. If Darnold, Chase on, and those guys, Milton and Barmore, are able to disrupt up front, and they'll mix in pressures, if they can get Darnold uncomfortable and give New England a manageable field, really a sure field, I think that's the only way I think New England could slow down Seattle. And I think that the Rams showed some stunts that they ran, and there was one in particular where I think it was Fisk, where he blew through the gap and he sacked on. There was another one too where the end slanted in, and then I think one of the ends slanted in, and I think the tackle tried to go out, but he ended up looking like he broke through inside. That was another play where they sacked Darnold again. So I think looking at what they could do, how do they pressure Sam Darnold to where they don't let him have the easy throws right off the bat? Because when the Patriots pressured Stidham, he didn't do well. When they pressured CJ Stroud, he didn't do well. The only way I think you slow down Seattle is you got to pressure Darnold. And we know Darnold's history with pressure over the years. Granted, I think he's in the best situation schematically that he's ever been in to this point in his career. Even better than with O'Connell and the Vikings last year. So I think, to me, how do Vrabel and Zach Core scheme up pressure without getting beat so bad? Can they apply a bend but don't break approach? How do they cover Jackson Smith and Jigba? There's a lot to cover. That's, again, a lot of questions that I'm going to try to see if I can find out for you guys going into these next 2 weeks. And there will be a lot of content for that as we go into previewing the Super Bowl matchup. I will try to work on getting some guests, too, to preview this matchup. There's a lot to diagnose when it looks at this matchup. And there's going to be a lot of note-taking in this encyclopedia of a mind here. And I joke with my extended family on it and stuff, but there's a lot to process with this game. But I think, to me, New England's going to have to score a lot more than they did today. And again, the elements played a factor. Don't get caught up too much in the elements today. This was as good of a defense on the road. The first team not to go 9-0 on the road. I forgot what it was. I mean, I want to say 9-0 since pull up the numbers for me. I'm trying to remember, but I feel like looking at New England's offense against Seattle's defense, who makes the big chess matches that finds the weakness first? Does Mike McDonald make the power move first, or does Josh McDaniels? Who can land the most power moves between the New England offense and the Seattle defense? Right now, if you ask me, as an honest New England fan, Seattle's defense is better right now than New England's offense as far as I think who I'd give the edge to. That does not mean, though, that will be my pick come game time, all right? Now, to the other side. How does the Patriots defense create pressure on Sam Darnold to not give him those open throws, but not breaking in the back end to where they have post routes, they have big plays over the top to beat him? That's where I want to see how that matchup plays. To me, that's where the chess match all week, I guarantee, will come up. And I want to see how that unfolds. And that's how I think this game will play out. Real quick, I'm going to give my quick thoughts on Miami and Indiana, and I apologize for not doing it on Saturday. I know it was a long show, but I had a lot of questions to ask our guest Joey for NBA because he's an NBA nerd. But today I'm going to talk about Miami, Indiana, and I know I'm late to the party on this. All right? Briefly, I thought the first half was a tell of what both teams needed to do to stop the other, and I thought that was a good half for the most part of that. I thought Miami got pressure on Mendoza. I thought that Indiana stopped Miami's run game early. And I thought both teams, to their level, played a really good first half. And I thought the second half became then a tell of, okay, this is what we're going to go do, and we're going to live and die on this. Indiana let Mendoza make plays. The fourth down run, I'll play for the ages. And I thought Miami put in their best player's hands, Mark Fletcher, and then they had some big plays with Malachi Toney that got going. So I feel like that was another tale of two halves where the first half, everything that those teams said they were going to do to stop the other, for the most part, worked. The second half was about, okay, let's go back to what we did really well, and let's see who could make the mistake. And it ended up being Miami with Carson Beck. And I feel like that Indiana, from a team that, you want to talk about turnarounds, I talk about Mike Vrabel and I talk about the Patriots. Indiana, a bottom seller Big Ten team, to being national champions. Who would have ever thought in year 2 under Kurt Signetti they would be this damn good? I mean, if you bet them to win preseason and win national championship, kudos to you. You won some major money and good for you. But this team, let's pump the brakes on the 2019 LSU, 2020 Bama talk, all right? Let's pump on that. They're not close to those teams. Stop it, okay? They're really good. They're nowhere near those teams. I watched both of those teams. I don't think they're better than 2018 Clemson. No way, okay? They're very good. They're not that. Now, Michigan, I think they're better defensively and name-wise, but offensively, Indiana's better than Michigan was with McCarthy. They were, all right? But Miami, though, so close to the U being back, but again, like I said, Carson Beck made the mistake, and again, he gags in big games. When he plays big competition, he doesn't perform well. And when I look at Mendoza, he capped one of the best seasons from a wins perspective and played for the ages. And we didn't see Indiana really get tested. And I thought Miami proved to a lot of people they belonged in that game. And that's what I feel like. Now, as far as the rules are changing, as far as Notre Dame being an automatic bid if they qualify in the top 12 committee rankings, I'm going to save that for another show because I'm not going to do it right now. But congratulations to Indiana. I'm sorry, Hoosier fans. Do not be mad at me. I wanted to do it Monday, but I was exhausted. I was tired. And then I got the word from a friend of mine that came on Saturday. He wanted to come on. I'm like, all right, well, let's save it for there. And then I got the sense that Saturday was going to be too long to fit, so I was going to do it when it was a light day. So I apologize, Indiana Hoosier Nation. Sorry for not talking about your national championship. And then I'm almost a week late. No excuse on my part. But today's pretty short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of how the schedule is going to be for the next 2 weeks. I am going to try to sneak an episode in. It'll mostly be an awards prediction show where I predict some of the awards. A lot of the finalists came out last week or early in the week. So I'm going to do an awards prediction show where I'll give you my picks for MVP. I'll give you my picks for offensive defensive player of the year, coach of the year. Walter Payton Man of the Year is going to be hard to pick, though. Comeback Player of the Year, Rookies of the Year. I will make later in the week a show strictly about that. That might be maybe Thursday because there's not really a lot going on now. So I'm going to try to get you guys content differently that way. And then next week it will be a little bit more focused on the Super Bowl analysis. I do actually want to squeak in something I love doing every year, which is the Hall of Fame class voting by my ballot. I will go over my ballot live. I'll give you my nominees, who I vote for, why they should be in the Hall of Fame. It is something I take very seriously because I look at the Hall of Fame for the NFL as you can't write the history of the game without them, and there got to be no-brainers. Now, the last couple of years, I'll agree there's been some guys that, in my opinion, are not Hall of Fame worthy, but again, I agree with it's gotten a little weaker. But in my mind, I also go by what I see, and then there's a couple guys I don't see that I refer to, people that have seen those guys play, and I'm like, all right, would you classify him as a Hall of Famer? But I will go over my live Hall of Fame ballot with the awards that I have, winners-wise, on Thursday I'm looking to do. I'm looking to do it Thursday. If not, it'll definitely be leading into the weekend. That's for certain. I want to do something a little bit different because we have 2 weeks till the Super Bowl. And then next week, that's when we'll have some more Super Bowl analysis talk. I'm going to try to sneak in a guest for that week leading into the Super Bowl, maybe a couple, to talk on the big game. We'll work some stuff out. But a lot to go over as far as leading up to this big game. You do not want to miss out on it. All right? But as said to you guys, I'm not going to not end the show with the goat mask.
I'll keep the Colt Brady shirt on. Why not? But Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in Lounge Time. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that way you guys can get all of the latest content you need leading into Super Bowl 60 between the Patriots and the Seahawks. Yes, you might see Rich go full nerd mode, breaking down X's and O's. Might even bring out the whiteboard. But you don't want to miss it because we will also try to work in some guests leading into their Super Bowl picks, winners, their thoughts on how the game will play out. You do not want to miss out. Plus, you can follow us on Rumble. We got to build that following on Rumble. We got to build some subscribers on there. So you don't want to miss out on that. Give us a follow on Rumble. You can also follow me at LoungeTimePod on X. If you got a question for me regarding the Super Bowl matchup, if you got a question, I will give you a couple seconds to answer. This is actually the week to do it if you're going to do it, because it's going to be real quiet. It's going to be real quiet. Because if not, well, then you snooze, you lose. Simple as that. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to kick back, enjoy my New England Patriots going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to enjoy tomorrow, and then I'll start stressing with Seattle. But thank you so much for tuning in Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys Thursday to break down my NFL award winners and my Hall of Fame picks for the 2026 class. Until then, I'll see you guys on Thursday. If not, I'll see you guys next week talking more Super Bowl 60 action. Have a good night, everybody.